Hi everyone, it's Allison, and I'm here to do a tarot tag. I haven't made a long video in quite a while. Partly that's because, and maybe you can still hear it, but about a month ago I lost my voice completely for about 2 weeks. It's still not totally back. I don't know if I'm ever going to get it back at this point. I guess it was even a little, maybe more than a month ago now. So I gotta just take it easy and not get too excited. But I'm really excited about this tarot tag because it's just so fun. Now I saw this on Jen's Supportive Tarot channel, and then the second part was on, I'm so sorry. I saw the first part on Lisa's Supportive Tarot, and then she and her sister Jen balanced it out and did half and half, and so the other half was on her sister Jen's channel. So all of these different things, that classic game. There's dirtier versions of it, but this one is Snog, Marry, Avoid. So which decks would you do? And then there are actually more than that. There's 8 prompts. And it was so fun to watch theirs and to watch the original one. And oh shoot, I've just lost his name at the moment. But I'll link everything below the video if you want to participate. I think Simon did it too, although I haven't had a chance to watch his video yet. So it's super fun. See, and I still cough too. We'll see how this goes. So let's jump right into it. So the first category is Snog. Which tarot deck would you snog or make out with? And I should say too, I just went with my gut. If I try to think about these things, then I'll think about it forever because I don't really even have a huge tarot collection, but I could think of a number of decks I would maybe put in each of these categories. So I was like, I have no time for that. Just gut reaction. So we'll see how it goes. So for my Snog deck, I chose the Anima Mundi, which is maybe weird. I don't generally want to snog animals, except for my pets. But even then, it's not really a full-on makeout session. It's more just like an affectionate peck. But it's just so lush and gorgeous, this deck. I fall into these images. I love the colors. I love the painting style. It's just so beautiful. I feel like those stages of infatuation, like when you do want to make it with somebody, I feel like I'm still there with this deck every time I pull it out to look at. And oh God, I just love it. So this is a deck that you can get on Etsy. Oh shoot. I just can't think of the creators now, but if you looked up the Anima Mundi Tarot, the artist did a companion oracle, which I do not have, and I think maybe is between printings right now, or maybe she's only done one print run. I'm not as I don't choose as many oracle decks as I do tarot decks. I don't use them as much, so I just decided this was enough for me. But man, this is a beaut. Oof, I could just keep flipping through it forever. I love it. So I decided that would be my makeout deck. But we can only make out for so long, and then we have to get married. So the second prompt is, which of your decks would you marry? And I mean, it's a boring choice maybe, but I'm going to go with the Rider-Waite-Smith for a couple of reasons. I'll just do this. Why am I even showing images? I have a lot of different Rider-Waite-Smith versions. I have the Centennial Borderless. I have a couple versions even of this backed one. One's later version and more laminated. This one is not. It's got the copyright. It's nothing special. And while I actually probably prefer the coloration of the Centennial and the Pamela Coleman, sorry, is that right? Pamela Coleman Smith, the one that's being reprinted this year in a beautiful borderless version I will also probably get. But this is the tarot deck. This is the tarot deck that I found when I was cleaning out my brother's room at my mom's house. I've made a video of what brought me into tarot. It was a pretty profound time in my life. And this is the deck that brought me to the dance. And when I really needed it, when I was going through this very difficult time of my mother's illness and her terminal illness, this is what I used to meditate because I didn't have the attention span to read, and I got sick of television. And when you're looking after someone who's very sick, there's a lot of nerves and energy and doing things, but there's also a lot of waiting around. And this deck was something to do. Is how when I learned or just sort of looked at cards and meditated and thought about them and put them away. And so this is very special to me. So if I had to just pick it, this is the one I would marry, and I love it. So yeah. All right. I feel like we're getting into some controversial picks now. I have good reasons for my choices here, but they're very personal reasons, and people are not going to agree with me. So we have the avoid. So we've had Snog, marry, and now we're on to avoid. Oh God, I feel terrible even just saying this. Shadowscapes. Shadowscapes, you are so beautiful. I don't want to avoid you. I don't, but I avoid you. I do not avoid shadowscapes. I use them for a while for daily draws and meditation. They're so beautiful, and I can't. The computer screen won't do them justice, of course. And again, this is a very popular deck, but they're too busy for me. When I lay out more than one, I can't. It's like my eye skitters around, and I have to just then go back and rely on my general Rider-Waite-Smith knowledge of the cards, which I don't really want to do. I want to be into the images, and I just, there's too many of them in front of me, I can't get drawn in. And I think in the end, I'm going to actually pass this deck along because it's so gorgeous. It just needs to be used and loved in a way that I'm not using it, although I do love it. Let me just... Oh, why do I do this to myself? Where's the card that I really love? Sorry, I shouldn't even be trying to do this because every time that I can't find the card, it takes, especially in this deck, because it's so busy, so difficult. But now I've said it, and now I feel like I have to follow through. That's a good one too. Nothing like dead air on a video, am I right? Isn't that awesome? Oh, I do like that one. I'll talk about that one in case I can't find the other one. I really like the Three of Wands in this deck. And of course, here I go. Did I already show it? I don't know. I really like the Suit of Wands in this deck in general. Look at that Ace of Wands. But I think this Three of Wands is the one of the most masterful Three of Wands. The idea of embarking on a new journey, and it's just great, but I'm just not, I just don't reach for it because I struggle with reading it in a larger spread. And but I appreciate it for what it is. It's just not really working for me. That's my avoid. Sorry. But as bad as that is, I feel like this one's worse. My divorce deck. Which deck would I divorce, and which deck am I going to divorce? Oh, I hate this. But we're just not getting along. It's a Mesquite Tarot. And like the Shadowscapes, I appreciate this deck. I appreciate everything it is. I think the creators did a beautiful job. I think that I love the minimalist aspect of it. But it's just not relating. It just doesn't want to talk to me. And the guidebook is great. I actually highly recommend this deck to people. It's just not talking to me. And I just think that we need to get a divorce. But I also am confident that I'm going to pass it on to someone who's going to love it in some way or another. Again, the colors are delicate and soft and beautiful in a way that I'm sure is not showing up on my crappy computer. I love everything about it. I think part of my problem was this is my first small deck, and I've learned I don't really love small decks. I have just broken down, I'll do a review of it, but I did just order a small deck, which seems counterintuitive, but I thought about whether or not I would order that deck for about 2 years. And I eventually was like, no, I think I will like it despite how small it is. I have big hands. I have no trouble shuffling. I like big decks and big images. And so I think that maybe was part of it. But just when I look for, usually I can make some kind of connection, and it's just not coming there for me. But that's not about this great little deck. It's just about my connecting with it, and sometimes you just got to pass things on. So that one's going to be in some way probably leaving my little collection soon. Okay, affair. This one was easy because I have been having a total affair. If Rider-Waite Smith is what I'm married to, which is I would say true. Definitely married to a version of the Rider-Waite Smith, but I have been pretty monogamous to a different deck since January, and it is the Naked Heart Tarot. I've been using this for daily draws. I can just get all kinds of great meditation from this. I feel like the guidebook is so right on. I'm reading the guidebook every time I pull a card, even if I'm really familiar with the meaning of that card. I love the artist's take on it. I'm so sorry. I can't think of anything. It's after midnight. That's probably why. My brain turns to mush. This is also quite a popular deck. I have the most recent version, so it doesn't have black sides on it. I love the cardstock. I just love all the thought that went into it. I love everything about it. And it's another sort of minimalistic. Oh, look, I love that Seven of Pentacles. I love it. It's great. So I've been using it nonstop, largely for myself. But it's been a long-term affair, and it may just have to be like a sister wife situation, I guess, with my Rider-Waite Smith. Because I don't have any urge. I'm not getting sick of it. I don't want to put it away. I just love it, love it, love it. My affair. Oh, my naughty corner. This is a hard one, actually. This is the hardest one because I don't have any really sort of cheeky, I don't know, I don't know. But if there was one, it was going to be sort of cheeky. I put it there because I think it's funny and hilarious, and it's the Tricker Tarot. I have made a couple videos about, got pet hair on it, about how much I love the Halloween Tarot by Kipling West, and it almost made a bunch of these different categories, but I thought maybe for the few people who do watch more than one of my videos, you might be sick of me talking about the Halloween Tarot and how awesome it is, how underrated that deck is. It's criminal. I'll be talking that one soon again. But I just think this one's got just such a great sense of humor. I love this sort of vintage Halloween art. I'm not usually a big fan of collage decks, but I think this one's really well done. Where's, hang on. Let me find some particularly funny, cheeky ones. Like strength. I like that the fashion modelista sort of is strutting with her bear with a trick or treat pumpkin. I think that's hilarious. The Six of Cups, with the Three of Cups rather, with the little pumpkin looking so nervous. I think that's so funny. They're all friends. They're all together, be so nervous. The Three of Swords, right in the jugular. There's one in particular. We'll see. I did it again. Well, one in particular I gotta find for you. But it just makes me laugh if I can find it. The Hermit. Aw, Two of Cups. The Knight of Cups. I do like that one a lot. Sorry. And some of them are actually quite sweet, like the Nine of Pentacles, like just a little witch hugging her black cat, and I think that's really cute. Oh, here it is. King of Cups. So funny and cheeky and great for Halloween, and I do love it. So that's my little naughty Tricker Tarot. The next one is The World I Want to Live In. And again, that's my Halloween Tarot almost made it there because it's so cute. The Anima Mundi almost made it there. Pagan Other Worlds, well, no, Pagan Other Worlds wasn't a close contender. But in the end, I decided, even though this isn't a deck I end up reaching for very much, but I'm not ready to let go of it yet. And maybe it's because of this world nature to it, and it's the Green Witch Tarot. I thought I would use this like nobody's business because I really love the imagery. I don't reach for it that often, but the artwork is gorgeous, and it's very much this sort of pastoral nature. I mean, well, it's the Green Witch Tarot, so obviously, but um, sort of this, um, well, again, the Five of Wands. That's not a great example of what I'm talking about, but the Two of Pentacles. I love being out in nature. I love this sort of country sort of life, even though I don't live that life currently right now, but I used to work on a farm and my grandparents were farmers. Um, so that's another good one too. Um, oh, like the Queen of Wands. A lot of the queens are older in this deck, which makes me super happy. That the power is recognized as older women. The Fool is the green man. I quite like that. Oh, the Ten of Cups. Like everything's outside and in nature and yet simple at the same time. It's not lavish. The King of Wands and his fireplace. It represents all the seasons beautifully. Let's find a couple more here just while I'm looking through here. This is an interesting interpretation. The Eight of Wands, use this sort of card of great motion, and she's putting things in place, right? She's like gathering flowers and herbs, maybe for some sort of like magical working, and things are happening even without that sort of great momentum forward. The Death card is great. The Sun. I mean, I like this so much better than the Baby Horse. I mean, it's just, and the lighting in this deck, it pops off the page. It's so beautiful. Let me see. The Moon is gorgeous. The Hermit is one of my faves in this deck because it's a winter scene, and I do love me some winter scenes. Oh, okay. I'll live in that world if you insist. Okay. Lord God. And, isn't this cool? Three of Swords. That's really interesting. Coming home, but the home is abandoned. Like there's heartbreak there, and that's a gorgeous card. The World Tree is fantastic. Beautiful. Yeah, I can't find my Hermit. I can never find Hermits are my favorite cards, and I can never find them because they're always hiding. Oh, there he is. Very end, of course he is. The Holly King. Oof. Gorgeous. So yeah, I'll live there. That would be lovely. And finally, the last part of the tag is the place I don't want to live. So this was tough too, but I think I can say this fairly confidently. I don't want to live in the world of the Vampire Tarot. I don't want to live in the world with that backing. I want to trim it and reback it, but I'm so terrified because this deck is so hard to come by, even though I have 2 copies. But I'm worried about. I'm always worried. And I've never trimmed or backed anything yet, so this is not what I'm going to start with. I love this deck. I love Robert Place. I've talked about that before. And while I'm going to drop cards if I do that. While I love his artwork, I don't want to live there. I know there are people who are really into Gothic fiction who enjoy the ideas of vampires, and there's a whole vampire wish fulfillment fantasy that people want to be vampires and have that kind of immortality. Not me. I like to read about it. I like to watch scary movies and read Gothic fiction and live in my vampire-free world. I don't want to get bitten in the neck. I don't want to have to eat bugs. I don't want to be like Renfield and become somebody's slave. I want to be stalked. And just want to live my life. But this deck is gorgeous. And there's all kinds of historical figures in it. Figures of literature. And there are some creepy cards in here that really serve his art style well. I don't love the cardstock. While it's nice and thick, it's hard to shift around in your hand. Ooh, that one's beautiful. The Moon. The Sun is great. It's on fire. So yeah, there's some great ones. Oh, like temperance. Like it's great. Uh, you know, drinking from the cow rather than from a human, but just as happy to not live there. I'm vegetarian. Oh, the tower. What an artist he is. Just Robert Place. And I feel like you can recognize a Robert Place deck from 100 yards. Um, oh, so normally I find the Hermit card very comforting. No, I want my Holy King Hermit in my world. Although I love, again, Halloween, and I love the darker images of this deck. Um, oh yeah, there's Renfield, the madman, and death. I mean, we all live in a world with death, so I'm cool with that. Um, but there's actually the magician Dracula himself. Where are you? Where are you, Dracula? Oh yeah. I mean, gorgeous card. Not my world. So that's the tag. It took a little longer than I thought. Sorry, but I can't wait to watch more. So make more because I think it's such a fun tag. So thank you again. I'm so sorry I can't remember your name, but I will link your video below. Thank you for starting it. Thank you to the Lisa's Supportive Tarot channel and Jen's Balanced Tarot channel, who did the most adorable videos ever on it. I'll link them too. And have a great night.